The stock market has looked pretty bad all week. Everything from tech and growth to financial stocks is getting punished. But in the sea of red, there's a little green candle called AMC, which has been making strong moves all week. Now we know by now that any short squeeze of AMC requires positive, strong volume and some kind of catalyst. So let's talk about some catalysts that we got this week. Let's talk about the potential squeeze of AMC and let's get to it. What's up YouTube, James from Thursday Media here, and in this video we're going to talk about some recent trends in the stock market and how they may be causing some positive movement for AMC. The last week has seen the S&P 500 slip by 2%, as just about every sector has become stagnant or is in the midst of a sell-off. This has come from several problems, but mainly the fear of inflation, which has investors worried. And surprisingly enough, the sell-off is not cycling back into other sectors, but instead is being held as cash or being used to pay off margin. Let's not forget that a major factor that's been propping up the market has been the loose rules when it comes to borrowing. It's been cheap, and now we have many institutions that are over-leveraged, so when there seems to be a flurry of increasingly bad news coming out, it's probably time for some of those firms to reduce their debt load. But one thing that we do need to load up on is hitting the like button so that YouTube knows that we're still in the game. And reducing debt's been fine, unless of course you're in a short position for GameStop or AMC, in which case hedge funds are holding their positions and the cost to borrow has gone sky high. In fact, to borrow AMC for the purpose of shorting is prohibitively expensive, and at this point makes absolutely no sense to do so as the company is showing signs of recovery, which may be why early in the week we saw some incredible price action, possibly from a short position being covered in the after hours. AMC has been rising despite the market decline. And for many, the fact that AMC has been moving in a positive direction during this sell-off may have been enough motivation for them to take a position in this stock. This new wave of investors has likely been a part of the reason we saw the bump in volume, pushing the stock up 3 to 5% each day this week. But today we saw major news drop when AMC had a press release announcing that their 43 million share offering was complete, raising an additional $428 million. This created an explosion in the stock price, pushing the price up 30%. It's open skies and clear forward, as there's no more dilution threat, no more vote for an offering, and no more closed theaters to bleed cash for. The path forward and the momentum needed for AMC shares to rise is now there. Today's volume nearly exceeded 300 million for the first time in months, and many investors and traders are beginning to pay attention to the positive sentiment that many of us have had for weeks. So what do we look for now? There will be a ton of news regarding AMC if it keeps climbing, and most of it will encourage people to sell, to make people feel like the stock is at its peak and begin downward pressure on the price. While everyone's price target is different, I can say that this is probably just the beginning of the rise. More importantly, this is not the squeeze. Shorts haven't covered, and you'll know the squeeze is happening as shares on loan begin to rapidly come down. Today's price movement is the result of good news coming from the company and investors realizing that there's nothing really holding this stock back anymore. And a lot of this comes from AMC making great strides to appease its shareholders. The first move was to remove the 500 million share offering. Next was delivering great news and hype at their earnings call, and finally they finished their shelf offering quickly when sentiment was high. Now I was wrong when I thought AMC was going to sell those shares during the major rise caused by the squeeze. Instead, AMC chose to sell those shares before a squeeze, potentially accelerating it happening. Now there are no more hurdles. AMC is not a company at risk of going out of business anytime soon. They have raised an additional $400 million, and there is absolutely no solid reason to heavily short this company the way that it's being done. Add on top of this clearinghouse rule changes coming into effect, the SEC and Congress beginning to pay very close attention to the situation, the incredibly high cost to borrow, and a community of shareholders holding together. AMC is now inching closer to a noticeable path to squeezing before the summer movie season gets underway. And real demand and FOMO will kick in as AMC's stock price rises past $15. Let's also not forget that talk of margin calls is beginning to pick up by news networks, so their sources are probably anticipating something happening in the near future. For those of you that have been holding for months, I'm sure it's exciting to see this massive movement, so don't be discouraged if there's some small pullback soon. Stick to your plan and make sure to keep a close eye on what the stock is doing. In my opinion, this is just the beginning of news and catalysts that will continue to propel the stock upward. But as always, I am not a financial advisor. I'm just a regular guy with a regular job, just looking forward to seeing what the near future has in store for AMC. So always make sure that you do your own research, come to your own conclusions, and make financial decisions that you're comfortable with. If you need a broker and you're looking for a place to begin, I'll leave some links down in the description below that'll help you get started. Some of these are even offering free stocks when you sign up and make your first deposit. If you like this video and you want more like it, make sure that you subscribe to the channel. I post every Thursday and Sunday unless I throw in a bonus. Stay hopeful, keep holding those tickets to the moon, and thanks so much for being here, and I'll see you in the next one.